This is the Vortex calling all of you, saying hello.
Howdy.
How are things? How's your mother? Is everything okay?
Yes. Welcome to Voices from the Vortex, everyone.
Yoo! I'm Matt.
And I am Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Matt.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yay!
How about yourself?
I am doing well.
That's good.
It has been a while since we've recorded one of these. Production-wise, this comes after all the ones we did about the new season, Season 7. But season-wise, this actually comes before Season 7.
Yes, we are going to be talking about the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
Wait, no, that's a famous C.S. Lewis book, isn't it?
No, wait, hold on just a darn minute.
Just one cotton picking Doctor minute.
Yeah, it's obviously a take on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Mm.
And the one thing about this is this is a Christmas special, but it aired the year before Season 7. But technically, this is a Season 7 episode.
Yeah, where they put the Christmas specials has always seemed weird, because the first one came right before Season 2 and is considered part of Season 2. The next one's part of Season 3. The next one's part of Season 4, but then 4 has another one after it, and then it has another one after that, and then 5 didn't even have a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Season 6 gets the Christmas... It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And then 7 gets 2. I guess they're making up for 5, since 5 didn't have one. 7 gets 2.
Right.
Yeah. So,
good old... So might get 3.
Yeah. Who knows? So anyway, basically we're going to recap the episode really fast, and then we're going to talk about some of the good things. So the Doctor, he's on this spaceship, and it's blowing up, and there was a prequel to this episode.
There was,
where
right.
Where he calls Amy, and this is after the wedding of River Song, so we know that that they think he's dead,
right?
But then River has told them what happened, so they know he's alive, but they haven't seen him in a long time. They haven't seen him since the God Complex, where he drops them off. So it's been a long time since
supposedly for good. Supposedly.
So it's been a long time since they've seen him. So he's in this prequel anyway. He's calling them and saying, "Oh, hey, I need some help with this." And he's like, "Oh, I forgot. You don't even know where I am." All this stuff. He's like, "Well, I guess this is goodbye." And he's holding his finger on this button that's gonna make the ship explode. So he has no way of escaping unless he basically, the end of the prequel, he lets it off and he starts running. So this episode picks right off, right there, and he's running and it's exploding, and he basically kind of gets sucked out into space, and along with this spacesuit that's flying, so he has to grab it and put it on really fast. He falls to Earth, and this woman, her name is Madge Arwell, she sort of helps him. He's got the helmet on backwards, so he can't see, and he's walking, and she helps him find his TARDIS, and he says, "Well, if you ever need anything, I have, I can help you out. Just
right.
Make a wish." Yeah. So then it's 2 or 3 years later, and the husband of this woman dies in the war, and so she has to take her kids to Uncle Digby's house because of the bombs. This is during the Blitz, yeah, and she takes them there, and she's really sad about the whole thing. She hasn't told them that their father's dead yet. So the Doctor is there at this house, and he's the caretaker, and he's got all this great stuff planned. He decorates all the rooms and everything. And then he has this special gift for them, and this gift is this big box And this box turns out to be this portal to this other planet, which is obviously a big take on Narnia there.
Right. It's a beautiful planet.
Yeah, it's this wintry planet, all these trees. And the one kid, Cyril, he goes in first and sort of follows these footsteps that get bigger and bigger. And then the doctor and Lily, who's the daughter, they go in looking after him. And then eventually the mom goes in. So they're all there, and the kid gets to this tower in the middle, and there's this like big wooden king, and then there is he gets to the top, and there's a tree queen sitting on a throne, and he's standing behind the throne. He sits on the throne, and she the tree queen comes to life and puts this ring on his head, this kind of crown thing. And
during all this,
yeah, go ahead.
During all this, that you've got the doctor is dealing with Madge is dealing with these people in a hopper ship, I guess, who are there on the planet preparing for something. What were they preparing for?
Well, the planet was going to be the trees were going to be melted down for fuel or something. There was going to be some acid rain that was coming, and they tell her, everyone in then 5 minutes, everyone who's outside is going to be on this planet is going to be getting by this acid rain. So she finds this out, and she sort of tricks them and takes their ship, and they teleport away because the planet's going to be the rain. And she eventually gets there, and the doctor and Lily have gotten to the tower, and they've gotten to the top, and basically the trees, the life force leaves the trees, and it needs to go somewhere. And they think, well, the son, he's too young, or he's too, he's weak. And the doctor thinks, oh, well, I'm not weak, I'll do it, But he's weak, Come to find out he's weak too, and then they eventually come to find out that the mom is the mother ship, quote unquote, and she takes the whole life force of the forest in her head, and flies the tower. Turns out to be a ship. She flies the ship through the time vortex, giving them a place to go so they don't get destroyed by the acid rain. Right. And to do this, she has to think of going home. So she starts thinking of home and all this stuff, and eventually she sort of starts thinking of her husband, and it sort of comes
the stuff
up
she has to tell him, the kids
and so they make it home, and they when they get there, they find out that when she thought of that, it sort of made this bright light where the husband was, and she was thinking of the husband, and the husband, he didn't actually disappear as he was flying his plane. He saw this light, and he followed it through, and he follows them through the time vortex, 2 years later, and it's Christmas Day, and he's there, and so it's all happy, everyone's there, it's all nice. And at the end, she tells him, if you're friends, he tells her about his friends who think he's dead, and she goes, well, you better go tell them you're not dead right now, it's an order. And so he goes over there, and it's for them, it's been 2 years since they've seen him, and they have this nice tearful reunion, and the doctor cries a tear of happiness, which this whole thing throughout the episode he thought was a silly thing, and
it was a human thing.
He wipes it away. It's all nice and heartwarming and all that. So that's the episode.
Yes, it is. We're doing a different way of reading these, and that was pretty extensive.
Yes, thank you.
You did a good job there.
All right, so my first thing is at the beginning. He's through space, and it's like, well, how does he not die? Or don't you just die in space? And I read somewhere that it's like, okay, well, because he's got two hearts, he's got this different circulatory, different respiratory system.
Right.
That helps him out. And that. Well, go ahead. You're probably going to say
There's actually an old episode that deals with that. Funny enough, the Doctor does not require nearly as much oxygen, or hardly any oxygen at all,
Right.
as his companions do. In fact, an old Fourth Doctor episode, he tells them about that, and he says, he doesn't, the room was leaking all the oxygen out, and the two, Sarah Jane and Harry, were dying. And he doesn't even think about it. He doesn't even realize it until, it's almost too late. And he goes, oh, wait, crap. That's right.
Yeah.
You guys can't, you can't do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's also in Smith and Jones, why he's like the last one still breathing at the end. Everyone's losing their oxygen, and he's the last one carrying Martha out,
Right.
So he's still there. I thought it was funny later when she picks the lock on the police box, and he's like, well, that makes the last 900 years of time travel seem less secure. But then it turns out it's the wrong box. It's like a real police box. So he's like, oh,
right,
wrong box.
But still, it's a good moment that
Yeah. This one was really funny. As I rewatched it, there was a lot of really funny parts, and especially once they get to the house. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, something I loved about this episode. There's a lot of, I don't know. I'm very conflicted on this episode, because on one hand I do really like it. You're right, it is really funny. There's a lot of things very laudable about this episode, but on the other hand, the episode's themes are all about. This episode's theme is all about family. It's about parents, about the mother and the father, which is a really good theme for Doctor Who and any other instance. But the Doctor is played as one of the children in this story. And for us, everything he's gone through, the Doctor seems less childish in my eyes in everything he does. He's more of the father figure in a lot of ways, but he's also very manipulative.
Yeah.
And to see him sort of take a back seat in his own Christmas special was a little... I don't know, it was a little weird for me. I kept thinking this should be more Doctor-centric, and it wasn't. But I guess that's nice to have those kind of episodes. It's nice to have that sort of variety.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the one thing that was kind of weird, and I thought, well, that was kind of a quick jump there, but he tells her to make a, how will I contact you or whatever if I need help. And he goes, oh, just make a wish. That usually works. And so that's like 2 years later, and the husband has died, and the kids are pulling a wishbone at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes a wish, and the wishbone snaps, and then the camera goes past the wishbone through the telescope out into space, and then you see the TARDIS flying. I'm like, okay, so was he signaled by the wishbone, or what was that?
Well,
how
and that's
did
a good point.
For real, yeah.
You remember in the episode with the kid with the night terrors, and he was putting everything in the cupboard. He wishes for someone to help him, and the Doctor gets it on a psychic paper.
Oh, you're right.
So maybe this Doctor can be wished for. Maybe people can bring him when there's a great need. He's getting old now, so maybe it's just where he's needed, he'll be taken.
And and maybe because that kid had some special abilities because he was actually an alien or whatever. But
right.
So this
woman,
maybe it's because he's connected.
Example.
He's connected to her. So yeah, maybe it's because he's connected to her somehow. He's met her, so he's kind of in tune to that.
Sure.
I don't know.
Well, it's also always 100% possible that he knew she was going to need him again in the future, and so he just waited, or he traveled through time
till she needed something. Yeah, that's a good theory. Okay, so they get to the house, and this is really my favorite part of the whole episode. They get to the house, and this is like the funniest part. For 10 minutes, it's hilarious. He's showing them around the room. Every room, he's like, I know. It's just so fun. I was laughing the whole time. And then he jumps in the bunk bed, or not the bunk beds, but the hammocks, and he falls. And just all this stuff is so good.
his idea of what makes a cool house. That's what I love seeing.
He's like, "This is the master bedroom. Quite boring." Anyway, moving on. And he moves on.
Well, I like that it parallel. Remember when Amy and Rory were in the TARDIS with them, and they wanted one bed instead of bunk beds, and he goes, "Oh no, you want bunk beds? It combines my two favorite things, a bed and stairs." And it's just, it's so the Doctor that awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Another funny line was once Cyril, he goes into the thing and they're like, "Are you sure he's asleep?" And they go in there, it's just the guy's asleep, and then he goes back in to his room and checks, and pulls the blanket up, and it's like the teddy bear and duvet. He's like, "Oh, the old lumpy bed trick."
The old lumpy bed trick.
I can't believe we fell for that. Okay, so basically the Doctor, this gift he gave them was he was going to plan this trip for them to go to this world. It was supposed to be a nice trip to this place that has naturally occurring Christmas trees. With the weird ball that kind of hangs down, and it turned out it was kind of like an egg or something. That was weird.
Right.
And then the small little thing that came out of the egg grew into the king or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked when the team got there, they looked like Master Chief or something from Halo. Yeah, I thought.
I felt like we should recognize them, even though we've never seen them before. I felt like, wait, are these something? Are these people from something? I've never seen those outfits before, but it felt like I should know them.
Well, they were. This was the Androzoni planet or something. The Androzoni trees.
Mm-hmm.
And that they were going to melt them down for fuel. And so she tricks them by she starts crying, and then
Mother's wrath.
Yeah, and I liked those guys. It was kind of like, you didn't need comic relief in this episode, but they were like, they tried to be kind of bumbling too,
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case you didn't think the other thing was funny.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I like what you said. You don't need comic relief in this story. This story was so filled with humor and with comedy. But yeah, just in case. Hey, we got these guys, and they're utterly ridiculous. Remind me of those two robots from the dinosaurs on a spaceship episode.
On a spaceship, yeah, they do. Yeah, they did remind me of that a lot. I also liked they get to the tower, and one of the best parts of the whole thing was the whole thing was made of wood, and so it was like sonic screwdriver was basically useless the whole time. And at one point, he says to the screwdriver, he goes, "You knew this always was going to happen, didn't you? You know this was bound to happen, or something. Aliens made of wood."
Well, and he's right. He really should make a setting for wood.
Yeah, he really should. I also liked, there was a throwaway line here that you wouldn't have heard if you missed it. He says something like, they get to the top and there's the tree queen there, and he says something like, Forrest, they love me. I met the Forest of Cheam. She fancied me, or whatever, which is a reference to the end of the world.
Second episode, yeah.
Second episode, yeah, with the Ninth Doctor and the girl who was made of wood.
The tree.
Or whatever. Yeah, the tree.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that
represent for you the Forest of Cheam.
Yes.
We have trees.
Oh, and I was like, yay, continuity.
Something we don't get a lot of.
No, that's really, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm so glad whenever they do anything that references the first 4 years of the show. Just because Moffat, for some reason, seems to be like, well, this is my show now.
Never happened.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is. It started with 11. Anyway.
It started with 11. It is the beginning.
Yeah. This is an interesting episode in the fact that there's no bad guys at all. There's no villain. Yeah, it's just a misunderstanding at first. You think, oh no, these trees are going to be the big bad thing. You know, this tree king. He looks pretty menacing.
Uh-oh, it's a tree and it's moving.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
but
the music's
you're
all
right.
Creepy. Yeah.
Damn it, Moffat. What are we gonna do this Christmas? Let's I don't know. Let's have Scrooge in this one. Oh, that's a definitive villain. Great. What are we doing this Christmas? Let's do. Let's do snowmen and they'll attack people. Okay, cool. What about this Christmas? A menacing tree, perhaps? No. No, it'll look menacing, but let the trees be happy. It's okay.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're nice. Everybody loved the trees. Damn it, Moffat. Stop it. Why do we constantly have to have episodes where there's no villain?
Yeah. Yeah, but really there was no villain. Yeah, it was like, basically they just wanted to leave the forest, leave the planet, and they just needed help. But they looked mean, so they thought, uh-oh. And then, yeah, and even the people, the soldiers or whatever, they weren't even mean. They weren't bad guys either. So
no, they were just doing their job.
Yeah. So that, I mean, those are interesting. There aren't a lot of those episodes, but there's enough where you go, oh, it's one of these. You can,
right.
They're like a thing. You go, oh, well, this is one of these kind of episodes.
Right.
Even we were just talking about Night Terrors with the kid. He's not. I mean, there's no bad guy there. Those dolls, the creepy dolls, but they're just part of his thing. So it's like as soon as he's
right,
better,
he just wanted. He just wanted someone to love him.
Yeah, and all those dolls go away, and everything's fine.
Damn it, Moffat. I don't dislike you, sir. What are you doing?
Yeah. There were a lot of good lines in this one about the doctor and how he just kind of goes with it. Like there was lots of things where he would say, like one of the ones I wrote down was, he's like, do what I do, hold tight and pretend it's a plan.
Well, for me, a lot of those lines, they seem to come at the Christmas episodes. Because last Christmas episode, it was a lot of, oh, shut up. And, I'm just a man with a plan, like we saw at the beginning of season 7. So maybe that's really what it is. Maybe he's just the world's worst planner.
Yeah. He just kind of goes with the flow and just whatever happens, he can handle it. And so I liked the whole mothership thing. I thought that was kind of funny. She's mom.
What?
I like that. He's like, don't you get it? She's mom.
She's mom.
She's the mothership.
Yeah, nothing beats a good mom. I was just, this episode was just riddled with maternal stuff, and that's great and all. We never get into the doctor's family, which is fine, but I feel like an episode like this would have been perfect for a really good drop-in line about it. We could have gotten... I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. We really could have gotten a good, I had a mother, and, my mother did this, and blah, 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 and then all of a sudden you go, whoa!
Yeah. Well, every
God.
Yeah, every couple episodes, there's been a few where there's like, there's a line about his family or whatever, and they just kind of used to do that to show, like, oh yeah, they're all dead. Which is kind of a mean thing to do, but that's how they did. He used to say, oh yeah, or they used to say, oh, were you a father? And he's like, well, I was.
I was a father and a grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did really like in this episode, I really like the way that he interacted with the kids. I do like that he's constantly doing that. That his idea of how to be, of who to be, is always paralleled with children. And as much as I bemoan that he should be more of an adult, I like that it was an episode filled with him relating to children.
Yeah. One of the best lines I thought was really funny. It's where Lily goes, "What is this, fairyland?" And he goes, "No, what do you? That's ridiculous." He's like, "Fairyland looks nothing like this." Oh, there's so many good lines.
There really were.
And there were, you know what? This, as funny as this episode was, though, there were a lot of touching moments in this one too. Gosh, one of the really touching ones is before this whole adventure starts, they get to the house and she kind of gets mad at him for making them so happy or whatever.
Yeah.
And she tells him, well, their father is dead, and I won't tell them on Christmas, because then Christmas will be the thing that took their father away. And he's like, and she goes, and I don't mean to yell at them, I don't know why. And he goes, well, it's because every time you see how happy they are, you know how sad they're going to be later. And you think, well, why should they be happy now if they're going to be sad later? And the answer is because they're going to be sad later.
Right.
And I was like, Dad, oh man, you got me. Oh, Mom, why?
That was a great moment.
That was a really good one. And
yeah.
And that's like right after he fell out of the hammock, so it was like he gets super serious right there. Yeah.
Pain seems to do that to him.
Yes.
How you doing, the doctor? I'm in pain. Say something important. That's what they get. They'll get pain later. And oh, doctor.
Yeah.
I did like. I teared up at the end with Rory and Amy. When he shows up at the house and she's just looking at him, and it's. I mean, I love Amy and Rory very much, and I love their little house they had and their little life that they had. And for me, it is so sad to see them go, of course. But the big thing was just, I can't imagine how hard it must have been for any of them to sort of step away from, each other. And then suddenly to have them come back, what would you do? It's like seeing your best friend all over again after years, and you just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, I mentioned it before. This was... So basically the doctor, he picks them up and they go to Utah, and then they see him die, and then they hang out with the younger him for a bit, and then the younger him drops them off.
Right.
And says, you can't go with me anymore because you're going to die. If you hang around, people die around me. And so he drops them off, and this is in the God Complex, which is in season 6. And then for the next several episodes, he's not with them. And then at the end of the Wedding of River song, River tells them this is what he actually did, so he's not really dead. So they're happy about that.
Right.
But then, it's like 2 years and they haven't seen him. They're just kind of living their life. And the one thing that was kind of confusing with this one, which we really don't know, and I'll just mention it, is the whole timeline thing was, it's 2 years, so people were like, okay, if in the God Complex was in 2011, that means that this is 2013. And we're like, well, why would it be that, a year in the future when it should be? So we were all confused there.
Well, why would even when he drops them off, are you sure he dropped them off at the right place and time? The God Complex, does he drop them off in 2011? It takes place in 2011. As far as we know, he drops them off
2010, 2009 or something. That's the thing, is they never explained that. So that was kind of that's the big problem with the timeline. But then they clear it up by going to New York in 2012, and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and they say 2 years, but was it really 2 years? That could have been an exaggeration.
Yes, exactly.
Never forget, Amy could simply have just been, hey, it's been 2 years, It's like you did last time, 2 years.
Yeah, I doubt it was 2 years to the day or whatever, but you're right.
Yeah.
So then, I also liked she had a squirt gun because she was ready to squirt some carolers.
she's
oh
such
man,
a bitch.
Yeah. And so then, he gets there, and there's this whole moment. I'm not going to hug first. Well, neither am I. And
right.
Then,
they both break down.
They both break down and hug, and then I like Rory comes up and goes, "Oh, you're not dead." She's like, "We've done that part." Like, oh, okay.
We've done that already. Oh yeah. He gets the worst of it, man.
Yeah, he does. Rory's poor Rory. I always say, "Oh, poor Rory."
Poor Rory.
And then he's like, "Well, come in and eat." And like we set a place for you. Like we always set a place for you. And I was like, "Oh."
Well, that's him crying there and just realizing he's crying because he's happy. Just he is human. He's so human. Everything about him is human, and I don't care that he's a Time Lord. He's one of us, and that's so cool.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, it was super cheesy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the one single tear, and then he wipes it away and looks at it. I mean, it was a little cheesy, but it was still pretty touching.
He underplayed it, which is great. Yeah, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say, there's something about this episode that bothered me is, he gets this basically set up for another companion, for Madge, and you're kind of sitting here thinking, oh, great, we're going to get, maybe she'll come back, maybe she'll be the next companion, this great idea of a husband and wife still that could be on the TARDIS, and the children. I think that'd be a great story to tell, but we'll never see him again. He's not going to go back for him.
It was just a one-off kind of story thing, and then, the one thing I thought was interesting about this episode, which I skipped it earlier, but is when she's flying the spaceship, it's like you can see the time vortex from like the opening credits. It looks just like or the opening titles, and
right.
That's kind of. I was trying to think. It's like one of the first times I can think of that you actually see the time vortex in the episode. I feel like there's.
You mean the new time vortex?
Well, yeah, I guess. I just mean, yeah.
Because you see it a lot back with Tennant and Eccleston.
Oh, do you? Well, I do remember a couple episodes where they show the TARDIS. Like, all right, off we go, and then they show the TARDIS going through a thing.
Well, and when,
but I'm saying it looks
you see it
just
flying
like
through
the
the
titles,
vortex.
yeah. This time,
yeah, you do see the TARDIS flying through the vortex, but this is the first time you really look out a window.
Yeah,
and you see the vortex.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, what's over there? Oh my God, it's a vortex.
It's the time vortex. Close the window. There's a draft. A time draft.
A time draft. Is that anything like a time shark?
I don't know. Well,
everything's better with time in front of it.
Yes, it is. This is just a pencil. It's a time pencil.
It's a time pencil. It's a time straw. It adds more fizz.
Yes.
I will. Well, okay, so I'm going to say it. Not the best of his outings as Christmas special, now that we've had a few with Matt Smith.
No, I agree. And just even the Christmas specials in general. This was probably one of the weakest ones. I mean, it's still really good. It's Doctor Who, but compared to the Christmas Carol and compared to, even the next Doctor, which with the Cybermen, that one's kind of, people think that one's not very good, but I think it's still really, really good. Yeah. This one's just kind of there wasn't much, again, because there was no bad guy too. It's just like there was just kind of a little bit of a conflict, and it was just kind of not that interesting of a plot.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, and it was a lot of reveal. The whole thing was kind of winding you up until the very end. And then...
yeah, that's true. It was the whole time you're like, what's going on? What's going on? And they didn't really explain until the very end. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. A good mystery is always good. I'm not sure. It's good. I wish it had been better.
Yeah.
I wish there had been a villain.
I remember.
Monster.
Well, you know what? This was the first episode that I had watched, not live, but like on TV. The rest of them I had borrowed the DVDs from you, and I was catching up. And this was the first one that I had watched on TV, and I was like, maybe I had it too built up in my head. You know, I was like, oh, this is my first, I'm like watching it with everyone else. My first new episode, woohoo! And then
Right.
And then it was like, maybe it was a little bit of a letdown in that respect. but I think it was good. I'd give it a B-.
Yeah, you're being generous. I got a C+ for this thing.
Oh, okay.
So, but hey, you know what? They can't all be Christmas Carol.
They can't. No, there's gotta be some stinkers. At least one a season. There's at least one episode a season that we all don't talk about.
Yeah. What was it? The second season, the one with the girl, the
Fear Her,
the drawings,
where she drew the pictures. Yeah, that one.
It was so terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a squiggly monster made of pencil.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Just get an eraser. Really? It would have been done.
Just a giant meat eraser.
That would have been that would have made the episode better if the doctor was like, I know, and he pulls out a huge eraser.
That would have been awesome.
Rubs him out and then blows all the dust away.
See, but only Matt Smith could have pulled off a line after that, like, this is my eraser, gives more erasings, or it makes it more see-through, or makes it, I don't know. I'm not Matt Smith, but you know what I mean. Yes, like blah 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 blah, and then a very mild episode.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had for this one. If you had anything else.
Yeah. I have very little for this one. I'm with you on this. So.
Mm-hmm. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna go through these real quick. We are on Facebook.
Yes.
Facebook.com/Voices from the Vortex. We are on Twitter @Vortex Podcast. We are on Tumblr, which you probably already know if you're listening to this. voicesfromthevortex.tumblr.com.
Tumblr.
We have an email address, voicesfromthevortex@gmail.com. If you'd like to contact us at all, use any of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Send some. I'll tell you what. If any of you want to record a question, we will play the question and we will answer it. We'd love to get some feedback from you guys. Just tell us what you want us to talk about, and we'll talk about it.
Oh yeah. Even just write us a question, and then I'll make up a voice and be like, Mary says, "Oh, I wondered why the doctor did this."
I love the voice.
Thank you.
That was good.
I just off the top of my head.
Yeah. I could do my Kermit the Frog.
Heidi ho there. This is Jeffrey G. Wants to know what's going on with the TARDIS.
This is turning into a totally different show.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we have gone through and explained to you exactly what we do and do not like about an episode of Doctor Who, and we want you to know that our opinion matters.
Yes, it does. Well,
thanks for joining us.
See you all later.
Hey, this is Voices from the Vortex saying, watch Doctor Who.
Woo! Yeah, woohoo! All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.